Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel down below. You follow us on our TikTok, our Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube is just down there in the description button. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. It really helps us out. And thank you guys and enjoy the video. We posted something on Instagram recently where we talked about some Chelsea fans that have been piping up in the comments. And we've actually got one of them here with us today on the podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself, Anthony?
Well, my name's Anthony. Long time Chelsea fan. You definitely see me in the comments. Sometimes I get more likes than posts. Yeah, no. But
yeah, man. Anthony is a huge commenter on the Devil's Den Instagram. And Anthony, we want to discuss Mason Mount. Look, he's your boy, academy boy, and he's Chelsea for life, right?
He was supposed to be.
Not anymore.
No.
Not
He was
anymore.
a snake.
Not anymore. What are your thoughts on the move?
I know we offered him a contract, $200K, the same as Reece James right before the World Cup. Reece James was $250, Mount was $200. Mount said no, and then we offered him a 1-year extension in February, and he denied that because he probably thought that was giving the club all the power, and then everything just fell through. I understand. The new owners probably seemed a little greedy, and he wanted to get out. But
Are you sad about the situation, or how are you feeling? Do you think?
definitely more sad about Mount than Havertz, for sure.
Okay.
But
That's fair. Mount was your
6 years
homegrown
old.
boy.
6 years old. He's been at the club.
That's crazy, man. He's been there forever. He had the assist in the Champions League final that won you guys Champions League final a couple years ago.
Yeah, I get a lot of
Yeah.
screenshots of trophy pics with Mount, but now they're meaningless. Imagine in your shoes, imagine Rashford going to a rival. How would that make you?
It would hurt, man. It would
It
hurt a
would
lot.
really hurt.
It would hurt.
I think that's a great point you bring up too, Anthony, because if you think about it, Mount this year had a kind of a down season, and Rashford last year also had a really down season. And this year, luckily Ten Hag was able to transform him, but tons of Man U fans were calling for his head, saying Rashford needs to go, sell him to PSG for as much money as possible,
Yeah.
whatever, this and that. But I personally, for me, I think Mount could be, under Ten Hag, he could be a revelation. I think he's got all the pressing ability you need. He might not be as technical as, Odegaard, KDB, or Bruno, but he's still got some of the attacking ability that you need. But I think his biggest asset is pressing. Chris, what do you think of the whole situation?
Yeah. So we look at our current midfield options. We have Fred and Eriksen who play a similar role as to what we believe Ten Hag will employ Mount in. And Mount kind of just takes both of the qualities that Eriksen and Fred has and combines them basically. Fred, we know, lacks that quality we have, and Eriksen really lacks the running. So to have a really high pressing fast, like an engine such as Mount, who's also technically very good on the ball, I think it'll be very, very good signing for us.
Yeah, I think you can't underestimate his striking ability as well. He can strike a ball really well through the laces, and I think he has better crossing than people really think. And I think that's something that can also help us out. Now, Anthony, I know you've obviously watched him for however many years now. What do you think he brings to Manchester United? Do you think he's really a big addition, or do you think it's kind of a small addition?
I mean, you guys definitely lacked depth in the midfield last year, having to deal with Scott McTominay, Fred. McFred? Is that
Fred.
Yeah, McFred.
McFred, yeah, the pivot.
Eriksen. Yeah, the pivot. He's definitely an upgrade on Eriksen. Eriksen, great player, but he's getting up there in age. Can't really press as much. I am interested to see how Mount and Bruno click together. I'm not sure how that will go, but I'm excited to see. And Casemiro obviously behind them. He might need a backup too. You guys might need another defensive midfielder.
Yeah, Casemiro is getting up there in age. That's a good point. And I think...
Yeah, with
Sorry, you go, Chris.
his suspensions we've seen, we've really missed him when he's been out this season due to the red cards, unjustly in my opinion. But still, you can't change that. So you need the depth to fill in when he's suspended, and we haven't had that. And that's when he has been playing. That's when we weren't really playing that well. So depth,
Yeah, the
depth
drop-off
in all
is
options is good.
The drop-off when Casemiro goes out is massive.
It's
You
very,
have to put
very
McTominay
massive.
back there. You have to put Fred back there. And Fred can do a job for a game or two, but like Anthony and you were saying, Chris, Fred just doesn't have the technical ability that a player like Mount or Erickson has. Like Erickson is a really intelligent player, but like we've seen this season, defensively he can lack, and he doesn't get back as well as even Bruno sometimes gets back better than he does, and we don't really want him to because for me, Bruno needs to be all around the pitch, moving everywhere. He just predominantly stays on the right side because he can play a right winger as well. But I think Mount will help fill in that void where if Bruno Fernandes needs to go out wide, Mount can provide intensity, at least on the press and counter press, when because defensively, like we said, he's a dog. And so I think that having that in there, and because we don't have that with Ericsson in there, it really helps the midfield out. So, like you said, Anthony, with the depth, that's a big part. But I also think the biggest thing for me is that we're taking him from a rival club, and he's one of their boyhood players, one of the best academy graduates we've seen in a while. Reece James, Mason Mount. So I think it's a really big steal for us. I think Chelsea fans aren't taking this as badly as they should be. Anthony, do you think Chelsea fans are really taking this as badly as it should be?
I see a lot of 50-50 on Twitter accounts. Some accounts are so happy he's gone. The other half are, why did we do that? I mean, I know there's a story of him when he's about 15. He had an interview, and his dad said, "How are you going to be the one? Are you going to break through? John Terry's the only last person to make it to the Chelsea Academy into the first team." And he said, "Dad, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be Chelsea for life." And now he's not. It's tough to swallow. I think he'll definitely be missed. But we got a good amount of money for 1 year left on his deal. But it's all about who we replace him with. If it's someone if we don't spend the money wisely, then there's literally no point.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think one thing that could concern me, I don't know if you're concerned about this, Chris, is we could be giving Chelsea the money to go out and buy Caicedo.
That was one of the things I was thinking about. Like we're basically funding another midfield move for Chelsea, and personally, I mean, before we were even linked to Mount, if we were like given the option of having Caicedo or Mount, I mean, I've always loved Caicedo, so I personally probably would have picked him over Mount. So having that option to like fund a move for Caicedo to another rival would suck.
You guys didn't you have a chance to sign him for about $5 million?
Yeah, that's Woodward tax. It's beyond us.
That's what, Anthony, this is exactly what we try to tell all United fans. The Glazers don't care, and they don't make these smart signings. Like, the amount of times we've been offered players that are just bargains, and then they end up. We see Caicedo now worth what, 80, 90 million.
Yeah,
we could have literally got him for $5 million. Are you kidding me?
It's unbelievable.
70 with 10 million in add-ons is what we might pay, but
it's insane, man. It's insane. And then the reasoning for why we didn't spend the cash on him the first time was apparently the deal would have been dodgy because I forgot where he was. He was in some Ecuadorian club or something, so the deal would have been dodgy. But Brighton did it, and then look at him now.
Brighton does all the time with those
frustrating.
little players that you don't know about.
Ferguson might be the next.
But yeah, all right. Well, we had some technical difficulties all sorted out though. Back to good. But yeah, we're just talking about the United tax. It's a concept that I don't know if some of you guys know. The United tax basically just means anytime Manchester United are in for a player, a journalist or the agent of that player will try to feed out some news that Manchester United are in for them, and their price goes up. Who knows? 20, 30 million. Look at Rasmus Højlund. He was valued at like 35, 40 million at the start of the summer. And then I just saw a report the other day, it was like 80, 90 million. For a guy who hasn't even scored double-digit goals in the Italian league yet. It's like, this guy has potential, but bro, are you kidding me? So it's like, yeah, I don't know if that happens with you guys at Chelsea, but for us, it's just super annoying.
It happens all the time. Anthony.
Yeah.
People just use our name, and then these transfers get dragged out, and then they see like Anthony gets signed for 100 million. And they're like, oh, well, you signed him for 100 million, or oh, you signed Maguire for 85 or however many million. So you're gonna have to feed up for us. So I feel like with Chelsea, Anthony, do you think we overpaid for Mount at 55 plus 5 in add-ons?
A year left on his deal. I mean, you're getting England national too. So the England tax with Maguire.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
55. I mean, your first offer was 40, I believe, and then it went to.
Yeah, but when we were first in talks, like I was pricing him around 50 to 55 mil. Like I was saying, I think we should pay that for him. pay that for him. Chelsea were quoting him at like 70 or 80. I was like, get out of here. Like, 1 year left on his deal.
I
No
also
shot.
understand. I mean, he came out and said he would stay and fight for the badge if no deal happened, but he would walk next summer no matter what, whether it would be United or anyone else. Which I think it's smart for you guys that you just did it, paid the money now. It's next summer. I'm sure
There would be a lot more clubs in for him.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't know the whole ins and outs of the deal and stuff and what happened with the negotiations, but it seems like, I don't know, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but United always have been bullied in these negotiations in the past, and at least we didn't get, because the 75 was kind of what Chelsea was saying at first is what we want, so at least we didn't pay 75, but still like 55 plus 5. I hope the add-ons are something that's like really hard to achieve, because if it's something silly like score 5 goals or something, score 10 goals, it's gonna be easy money. But like if it's win the league or win the Champions League or win a trophy or something,
I'll gladly pay that.
yeah, I'll gladly pay the
win the
5
league.
million. It would be worth it. I don't think we're going to, but it would be worth it. So I think 55 isn't horrible, but I think Chelsea still get good money for that, and then United aren't getting like totally ripped off. But yeah, it's interesting because back in 2013, we signed a Chelsea player that I think it was worth 37 million, and he was at the time one of the record transfer fees. Do you remember that player, Anthony?
I think I do. And it's very similar to the Mountain deal, actually. Juan Mata, he was phenomenal. The 2 seasons he was at Chelsea, he won Player of the Year both times. He had the assist, 2012 Champions League, a cross into Drogba. And now Mount, who also had Champions League winning assist, they were also both at 33 goals for the club and both won Player of the Year twice. And they both went to United.
That's crazy. And Juan Mata was only 25 at the time.
Mount's 24. It's very similar.
That's scary.
I really
That's
hope,
scarily similar.
I hope that Mount's United career is like Mata's. I'm sure you guys wouldn't, but
Yeah. I mean, Juan Mata,
great.
I don't know what to make of him.
Juan Mata came to United at a time that wasn't really, it didn't set him up to be successful there. Like, we were in a very, very rough time in our history.
It was
now,
right after Fergie left. Yeah.
Now we have a more clear path as to what we're doing. We located, or we've found out a path of what we want to go on, with Ten Hag and his project. So I think Mount coming to United now is better for him than when Mata came to us in 2013.
More exciting.
I definitely think they're also slightly different players in terms of Juan Mata is less, he doesn't really have as much aggression as, Mason Mount defensively and stuff. And so I think that's also a difference that's going to be important, because I think Ten Hag really, a lot of people like me as well, I was confused when we were even linked to Mount. If you told me in January that we would get Mason Mount in the summer, I would have told you you're crazy. But if you think about it, I think Ten Hag is really just trying to get players that work for his system. And so he wants someone who can press, which unfortunately, Wout Weghorst, I hate the guy, but he's terrible. But at least he could sometimes press. I mean, that's the only thing I can say is positive about him. But I don't know. I'm just hoping Mount can at least have a better career than Juan Mata at Manchester United. Chris, I don't even remember much about Mata's career at United, because he just had flashes here and there.
He did. He was technically gifted. You could tell he was a great magician on the ball. His distribution, his touch, it was all magical. But we never really put players around him that could help him thrive at the club. We never really made any league title challenges when he was at the club, or didn't go really anywhere in Europe. He did win the Europa League with us, the FA Cup, but we didn't cement any real a pathway for him to be successful. Unfortunate.
What was the manager situation 2013-14?
David Moyes.
That was right after.
Yeah, Sir Alex left. Moyes came in.
Yes, you're right. He didn't really.
No.
David Moyes did not
work.
work.
He was set up for failure.
Yeah. David Moyes did not work. It was kind of just a shoot. It was just they were just shooting in the. I don't know. I don't even know what the phrase is, but it didn't really work out. So I think with Mount, it'll probably be better.
He's definitely walking into a better project than Mata did.
100%.
Sure. But I do rate Mata. He was a much better
Mata was
He
insane.
was phenomenal.
Well, yeah. When you look at his Chelsea career, he was only there for 2 years, Anthony.
His goals, assists, insane. It was in the
Yeah,
60s. Goals and assists, one of the seasons, I forget, or maybe.
I think he was pretty instrumental in Spain's 2012 Euros, and then the 2010 World Cup. He was part of the team too. So he was a fantastic player. I just hope Mason Mount can at least cement his name in something better than what Mata did here.